Got it. So welcome everyone one more time to our credentialing webinar. So it's 5th June and it's World Environment Day. And what could be better than to have a conversation about future readiness? And as coaches, as ICF accredited coaches, today we are going to talk about the role of ICF Coach Education. And you can see we have stellar guests and moderators who are going to demystify a lot of things that you keep asking. You have questions about the future of ICF Coach Education or your future as a coach. Okay, so as people are joining in, let me set the context for the conversation today. So, why are we having this conversation? Why talk about future readiness of coaches? Because as coaches, whichever organization that we work with, whichever professional we work with, they are having this conversation, right? So future readiness, if we really want to think about it, it's not something new. It has been there for a while. So if you really look at the time during the World War One, World War Two, there was a need of future readiness. What it meant during that time was to be able to be aligned with the wave of industrialization which is happening that time. And if you move forward, then we had the IT, IT innovation which was happening. And that time we all moved from analog to digital. That was the meaning of being future ready. And there was a huge transition which happened in business, in our career. And recently, we have seen, not recently, we are like, people who are 90s kids will remember, we've seen globalization where the entire marketplace opened up and we all had to be ready for this new future. The way we act, we buy, we behave, the world, the socioeconomic pattern, everything changed. And recently, during the pandemic, future readiness meant how we deal with crisis. So the good news is we have survived through all of this. We had adapted, we have developed different muscles, different skills, but we still have question on what it means in 2024 and what it means as coaches. So as sitting in India particularly, so ICF as an organization, if you see, these are from some of the reports which has been done by ICF, right? 2022, 2023, 2024. It clearly shows that the way the global order is changing, the requirement of the coaches is also aligned to that. So we're critically positioned to actually give this new meaning as coaches. In Delhi NCR, we have more than 250 members, and over India, other country, we have, I think, more than 1,000 coaches ICF. And there are a lot more who are undergoing their coach education. So together, the future is dependent on us. But how we should act, how we should behave, how we should position and calibrate ourselves towards this future is the question. This is the vision for ICF Global, where it makes coaching accessible, an integral part of this transformation. And it's for the future as well. So today we are going to understand that, and who can be better than three futurist coach educators who are there with us. So not wasting any time, join your hand to welcome. So I'm going to do it in alphabetical order. Deep Ahuja. So very quickly, you can all of them are stellar coaches, and there's a long biography, right? So Deep is an MCC, and she is a global leadership facilitator. She's the founder of tpcleadership.com. Something interesting I found about her, that she's a published poet, podcaster, writer, and she curates beautiful spaces. I've been to her webinars, And in those spaces where she is, making new leaders emerge. And you'll listen to her more. I'll be sharing the LinkedIn link to of all of their profile so that you can know more. So a big round of applause to Deep Ahuja.
Thank
The
you.
next
Thank
person.
you, Debeshi and everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be pinning all three of you. I'm just, allowing everybody who is joining the session at the same time. So the next person we all know is Jaya Bhateja. And we in 2023, she won the Guru Award from ICF Delhi. And I was a part of the ICF, awards which started in India. And she's been awarded with multiple global awards, multiple awards in India. But something which is interesting is that she is always creating something for the future. She's creating a coach aggregator platform while being a founder and executive coach in Abu Dhabi. So there is always something that she is contributing towards the future. And that's why I welcome Jaya in this conversation of being future readiness. Again, you can all go up and look the wonderful work that she is doing. Welcome, Jaya, to the session.
Thank you, Debeshi.
And last but not the least, so our director of credentialing, Sandhya Mathur. So Sandhya and I have been kind of, building the portfolio of credentialing in India. So she's the first credentialing director. And again, like she's been working globally with, collaborating with Symbasic Coaching and being the CEO of Inward Focus in a global scale. And, she beautifully blends her insights of Eastern philosophy with, the ICF coaching. And her group is Sapphire by Sandhya Mathur, where she empowers women to go to the next level. Again, as I said, all of them, while being a coach educator, while doing whatever everybody is doing, are thinking about future. There are not, just serving the people, creating the leaders for today. They are creating coach leaders for tomorrow. Again, I can go on and on, but this conversation is about you. Okay. So I can see, Nawal, I can see Violeta, and so many people who are there in the room. So we would want you to actively participate while we unfold this conversation. And Sandhya, the conversation is going to be, in three parts. That's what we decided. So how do you want to go about it?
Thanks, Debeshi. That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much. And I'm really looking forward to this future-focused discussion. And thanks so much for, referring to future readiness in the context of how it used to be. I just want to take a moment to add to that, and then we move on. Would that be okay? So the way I view this topic, I would say, we are in the present right now, and we are going to be talking about the future of coach education. What are we doing? Like, it's like being in a coaching session, right? In the present, going into the future. However, this discussion would not be complete if we don't refer to coach education evolving over the years. And, the way the past, present, and future of coach education comes together, talking of all of these three realms would give us a complete picture. And, before we move into the future, I would like to just briefly go back in time and reflect on what future readiness meant for coaches and organizations, maybe a decade back, before that, right? So organizations, I would say before that. And then it's more than a decade being in coaching now. So then what did it mean for us? And what was the concept of future readiness? I would say that it was a combination of our education, and I'm talking in the realm of the coaching industry. And whether it's coach education or coach, all of us as coaches, it was a combination of our education, the ICF education, and more in the principles of coaching, combined with the human and tech component sometime. And I would say we explore this in terms of tech and the human capital. When I started out as a coach more than a decade ago, it was so different. The landscape was so different because when I started, there was maybe, as far as tech went, there was Skype and there was some other platforms, and then WebEx and everything that we used as technology, because my global reach has been because of all that technology. I would say it was a combination. When I say human and tech and other factors, and the education, the certification, the ICF credentialing, of course, was there. It was basically education, our emotional intelligence, our IQ, and technology working for us. That's the way it's involved, really evolved. And as we went along, we had the pandemic. Before that, there was hardly, I would say there were very few takers for Zoom and virtual coach education and all of that. And then it boomed during the pandemic. So that's how it has evolved. Jaya, Deep, would you like to share some highlights of your journey here in this context? Jaya, would you like to go first?
Sure. Yeah. So as you rightly said that when we were learning coaching, like back to 2010 around, the coaching education was more about learning to learn life coaching. So most of the schools education programs were teaching life coaching as general, and the struggle was to apply that knowledge. Great, I'm self-aware, but how do I apply that?
Correct.
Because my biggest struggle was when I came out of my school, how do I apply this in the workplace? How do I apply this into different? So tools were not there. There were, hardly any. There was a lot of concept around psychological understanding and self-awareness, but tools were missing. And from that time to now, there has been so much evolution and niching and specialization that it's very interesting to see how the journey has evolved.
Yes, yes,
And
true.
I think we'll talk about it as we go along.
Absolutely, absolutely. Deep, what about you?
Yeah, so Sandhya, I started off coaching in 2008 while I was a leader as coach at Flight Center Travel Group. They have it in their DNA to coach others. As you become leader, you got to start to coach for performance, coach for sales, etc. So I was coaching sales leaders across different regions, traveling from Juhu Tara Road, which was sometimes 2 hours, and during festivities, it was 6 hours to Thane, where I was located. And from Thane to Pune, to various other locations that I used to go to coach regional leaders. And that time we used to have handbooks of one-on-one.
Yeah.
Sales target, where are you, where do you want to go, what are your strategies, what support do you need, what behavior shift do you need, what mindset shift do you need, etc., etc., and who can support you. So that was already institutionalized, and that's where I got the kick of starting to coach and become a leader in coaching. So I started to train others to become coach within that Australian MNC that I was there. And since 2015, when I got my professional certification through ICF as ACC, I didn't count my previous hours because I felt I need to start afresh in the professional arena and start my journey afresh from here. So yeah, I agree. There were all sorts of coach education institutes available. I agree with Jaya, mostly on life coaching per se, very little about coaching through change, complexity, very little about how to integrate emotional intelligence in coaching for leaders, how to enable leaders transition through pipeline, etc., and how to do systemic coaching. So yeah, I think the introduction of TPC leadership in my life has been very transformational. And since then, I think been globally training coaches through Zoom back then as well in 2016, before pandemic, and after pandemic has
Correct.
been a complete revolution, Sandhya.
Of course, there's been more acceptability and things
Exactly.
have changed. Right. Thanks, Deep. Thank you, Jaya, for those highlights there of your journey. So, given the way that it panned out for all of us, we could perhaps view the future of coach education in three broad sections. One is future ready coaching practice and education from maybe 2010 to the pandemic. The second part we could look at could be the new aspects of future readiness during the pandemic and ICF's response to that. And then the third bit, the emerging definition of future readiness for coaching practice and coach education. Right? What say, Debeshi? Should we continue this way?
Yes, and there are many friends over there in the room who are particularly looking towards the third section.
Yes.
So,
yes.
yeah, we can
yes.
start.
Right.
So,
So,
Sandhya, you always mentioned about your journey, how the coach education system has evolved. You have evolved as a coach, and the kind of professionals around you, they have evolved, in terms of their skills, in terms of the practice that they are doing. So, how was this shift for you from the 2010 to pandemic, and then while we were going towards 2020, around 2016 2018, there was a rise of the need for the coaching was felt, it was palpable in the industry. So how was it for you?
Well, I would elaborate on the qualifications, certifications, and everything else around me. And before the pandemic, honestly, I think we are from a time when we had to answer the question, what is coaching, to anyone and everyone we spoke to, right? Conversations would start there, and we can see that it's been a drastic change there as well. So, in a nutshell, Debeshi, I would say we are here where we are based on some of the basic principles that we applied, and that was adaptability. Adaptability is something that it's an inherent skill that a coach must possess within a conversation and outside, right? Outside for various reasons, learning, adapting, using those tools as Jaya mentioned. And, you go attend something, let's say it's about assessments, qualified for example, my specialization is emotional intelligence. Now, what is emotional intelligence? How do you take it to the clients? How do you talk about it? All of that was part of this entire period that we are talking about. But I would say adaptability was key there. And, while I say that, I would, in fact, refer to two competencies that really form the core of who we are. One is the coach has to embody a certain mindset. It's imperative within the coaching conversation and outside as well, because it's about our mindset in general. which has to be flexible, open, and just adapt to everything. And the other is about being present as in now. And that's why we are having this conversation, right? The other part of being present is knowing how to adapt. If you're in the moment, if you are, and presence, I would say, is it's not about just doing, implementing those skills. It is about being, the way you show up as a coach. So it's a journey from a whole lot of things to perhaps unconscious competence in some areas, and adapting. Just like we adapt to different clients, we had to adapt to different situations, whether it was technology, whether it was the whole scenario during the pandemic. It was, I would say, the key is adapting. Also, the fact that ICF came up with a new set of competencies after a lot of research around that time. This was, I think, each of those competencies that we talk about today, the skills, is very, very relevant. And if we truly absorb and imbibe and implement all of that, we should be fairly future ready in terms of the human factor. And I'm always looking at a combination of IQ and EQ. And yeah, because ICF came up with those competencies in 2019. The model was ready as far as I remember, but it was really launched, and we started using those in coach education sometime formally around 22. Some of us started using it earlier, but that was the deadline. Now, ICF is looking at the future. The competencies were ready for us. There is a certain future readiness about the coach education in terms of ICF certification and credentials, right? So again, Jaya, Deep, there's a lot of curiosity and conversation about the emerging skills and top trends shaping the future and coaching during this time that all of us have witnessed. What would you have a take on that? Jaya, would you like to go first, or Deep, whoever's?
Sure. Deep, you want to go first?
No, I saw you unmuted. Why don't you go first? Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's been extremely interesting to see how the world has moved, right? So I call it like when we started coaching, and like you're saying, we had to explain what is coaching, and explaining coaching is like hard and tough and almost impossible. You have to experience it. So I call that as a tasting time. People were tasting it and saying, I like it, I don't like it, I don't know, kind of reaction.
Right.
But pandemic has actually made it more like a testing time. Now the worth of coaching is well established. People understand, they value, and now they expect more from coaching and coaches and coach education and coaching industry. So it's really a time where we've been asked to prove ourselves in different arena. AI is one example where there are several tools available taking away a lot of our work. One side, it's a great thing because it simplifies a lot of our logistical technicalities and complexities. The other side, we're also questioning, hey, where is this going? So definitely there has been a shift with the pandemic coming in, coaching going online, becoming virtual, modular, as to, are we democratizing it? Is it becoming something that anyone can do? Is it becoming something that a bot can coach, right? So those are the questions and challenges we have been posted with, and hence the coach education is posted with more challenges about, hey, how do I train my coaches in a way that they stay relevant? Because the program that they go through tells them this is a relevant education for their entire life. All right. So how are you evolving with that? How is the education program evolving? How is it making you ready beyond life coaching? How is it making you beyond, giving you tools beyond just creating self-awareness? Self-awareness has become a basic thing now. Earlier, self-awareness was the aim of coaching. That's not the aim now. Organization says, I don't care about self-awareness. I care about my outcome. What are you doing about that?
So
Right?
true. Yeah.
So,
They
so
come from it's now, from that not measurable, intangible thing that everyone was talking about. We are talking more tangible stuff now.
yeah, and I see coaching is becoming a very challenging profession, equally rewarding and equally challenging. And anybody who loves the thrill will enjoy this journey. Technology is coming in the way. The workplaces are becoming extremely complex. So you need to know how to navigate diversity issues, inclusion issues, wellness issues, team coaching issues together. Because organization will not say, I'll hire different people for different things, right? So they're hiring one coach and expect them to know most of the things. And another very biggest trend that I'm noticing is mental health of coaches. We are taking a lot on us and not paying enough attention for our wellness. So these three things I'm noticing has been, like we say in systemic thinking, today's solution is tomorrow's problem. We have solved a lot of problem. We are sitting on new set of issues. However, there is a lot of hope in this industry simply because there is immense satisfaction that coaching brings. However, I think we are not immune to change, right? We'll have to adapt and we have to change and we have to evolve and learn. So that's what my view is on current emerging
Right.
trends.
Right. And I'm glad you brought up the mental health and stress that coaches are undergoing. It's in some ways positive that there is so much work that and the changing trends that we've got to manage so much. It's not a profession that is unknown, but yes, it has its downsides, and we really need, I think, to experience coaching ourselves as well, right? Yeah. Deep, would you like to add to this about the top trends and emerging skills?
Absolutely, absolutely, Sandhya. I agree with most of what has been spoken, and with transcending trends of companies like BetterUp as a platform. They are a $1 billion organization, and in 2021, they reported a high steep in one area, which is mental health for sure, what Jaya spoke about. So mental health of our coaches as well, not only coaches, but coaches as well. So are we navigating ourselves through complexity with resilience and agility and emotional intelligence? In
Right.
the era of artificial intelligence, are we taking care of our own self-awareness, etc.? Whereas there are some doubts, fears, and some contemplations and speculations around whether technology will take over, whether a human coach would be put aside. So I ran a survey, thanks to the panel discussion perspective. I got 100 responses on that survey. So would you like to know the results that came up?
Sure, because I was anyway going to ask you about the impact of AI and machine learning on
Yeah,
practices. Go ahead.
So I asked people from various sects and regions and different geographies and cultures. I asked whether would you prefer AI coach over a real human coach anywhere in near future. So the results are 65% said. Any guesses?
No.
65% said no. And only 6% said yes. And then I also had posted maybe, which got 3%. And the second highest went to I'll prefer a combination. The reason why I say, and I also conquered the thought of these 100 respondents, is coach from the very definition from 1800s, 1800th century. That time, coach was actually really a cart, right? A carriage that is taking people, transporting people from one place to another place with comfort. Now imagine that cart is not having horses, but you are navigating through different routes with AI, machine learning as two of those horses. And there is, of course, your emotional intelligence that will navigate you through and hold transformational spaces. AI can hold transactional space probably, but never ever can that be transformative in nature. So if
True.
we put this to our use, then it becomes our friend
Yes.
instead of being a foe. So can we utilize AI and can we utilize digital tools? And coach education needs to start, corresponding, facilitating instead of training, teaching methods, facilitating and coaching through various tools, techniques, something as simple as what we are doing right now, what Debeshi just did on a prompt. She just started off AI summary. The reason is that it will offer us some concise, summarized, synthesized information for us to bite into, right? Similarly, why not taking a permission from a client? If at all they're ready, can we do an AI summary of our session? And that remains between you and the client. With, of course, technology included, can we contract for that? When you do that, you can maintain better eye contact. You'd never have to take notes. So many coaches ask me, can I take notes? Is it different if I, and we always recommend that just listen and be in the present moment, be in here and now. So AI can also enable you to be in here and now. Let it do the summary, let it be sent to the client, let them take out their insights and send you back their reflective notes from the summary. So something as simple as that, can we start to incorporate in our work? Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yes. And happy to know those stats there, those numbers there.
So Sandhya and Jaya, that's a beautiful space that we have kind of created where Jaya is talking about, how in terms of organization, it's the tools are going to help. And, we've created this beautiful analogy of how the coach, the vehicle remains the same, but the journey is going to be kind of different.
Yeah.
Another, thing which I could see that the coach education remaining as pure, with this facets of its core competencies, it is serving different platforms, different people, uh, but at the same time, the measure of it, the logistics around it, what Jaya was saying, if we go to the organization, they're measuring the ROI and ROE,
Correct.
right? So, when everything outside the coaching session, the impact of the coaching, the kind of projects which people are doing, the results on the business, when it gets mapped by using AI or different kind of tools, and we understand the data is giving us the decision whether coaching is working or not, that is something which is going to help in taking them the decision, like, getting all the consensus of the stakeholders to take a decision whether you're creating that coaching culture. Because coaching culture is palpable, but as Jaya said, people don't need awareness anymore. They would like to see tangible, measurable results, right? Whatever can be measured, whatever can be mapped is going to be managed, and then it goes to the next level. So maybe we are coming close towards partnering with the organization while having those tools. And we always say, like, as coaches we partner, but it might be a place where we are able to map the data and bring the future of having coaching cultures in the organization embedded, getting that future closer to us. Maybe the analogy which you gave of the cart, maybe AI is going to add speed to it. So that's what came up from both of you sharing today.
Right.
So with that space, Deep, uh, Sandhya, where do we think this carriage is going to take us into the future, right? So we have seen the pandemic, we are in it right now, this is what we are feeling, but there is an uncharted territory, right? There is
Correct.
fear in the mind, right? And
True.
if three of you
There's
can share,
concern, definitely.
yeah, how do we answer those questions, those fears, those uncertainties?
So I would go to Deep now for advice to, what advice do you have for aspiring coaches, pursuing the ICF certification, Deep?
Sure, Sandhya. Yeah, I think from whatever experience, education, exposure I've had of learning to be a coach, then training coaches and enabling coaching culture within organizations to be built, I can only say that go back to the competencies. They are the real guide and navigator. They are the GPS. Go back to them, embody coaching mindset, embody ethical practice, give credit no matter AI is offering you plethora of knowledge and information on one click. Don't own it all. Don't say that it's mine because you are not the source behind, because you are not the life source behind the data that's coming up. So own the mistakes of AI as well. Then if you're going to use AI just saying that this is credit me, I'm sorry. When you get a client from another collaborator on the journey, give credit back to the client, saying this person got me the client. When you get a content from another coach or a source, give credit to the source. Be ethical, be grounded, because that's going to be the AI war ahead of us.
Correct.
People are going to claim, people are going to blame, and that is what the accusation will start. If we are not standing up to the ethical practices as coaches ourselves, what are we then going to lead others with? So that's going to be one of the major fears and concerns, because AI is going to bring up everything that we feed it in with. And are coaches feeding it with creativity? Are they bringing in their own thought process onto the table? Are they offering evolution and growth for whatever technology also is being built? At the end of the day, humans are creating technology.
Correct.
Can we master technology like our mind, right? Mindfulness will be way to go. Taking care of our own selves will be way to go. Holding space, which is safety, presence, awareness, choices, empathy, as I say it. Can you hold that space for your own self to begin with? As Jaya also mentioned, mental health for coaches is going to be a challenge as well. Can you hold that space for yourself before you start to transform leaders, teams, coaches, and organizations? So that will be my one key takeaway for the coaches that are, yeah.
Very true. I love that. Because ultimately, it is the principles, the competencies, the skills, and the ethos that we stand by. And yes, welcome AI and use it where we can, align, right? It doesn't have to be an either or war. Wonderful. So thanks for that, Deep. Jaya, what do you think are the biggest challenges for future coaches? And how do you think they can prepare? I mean, in addition to what Deep has just said.
So, see, challenge is a very relative term.
Correct.
Somebody who loves thriving on technology will not see it as a challenge. Somebody who see it like, oh my God, another application, oh my God, another tool, will obviously say. So I think it is continuously inviting a lot of change in us, right? How we embrace the change. And it is not only coaching industry. Well, every industry is getting disrupted. So if you have to survive in a working world, then you have to disrupt yourself, whether it is coaching or any other world. Like people learned, like I know my parents learned WhatsApp and YouTube, and I'm sure that's the story for all of us. That was a disruption their way. That if you want to stay engaged on social media, go to Facebook, go to WhatsApp. Similar, it's the similar story. So the challenges for coaching industry is only if you don't want to evolve, don't want to get onto new tools, you find it hard to navigate technology. Definitely, it will be a challenge because everything is becoming digitized these days, right? Second challenge I see is lack of deep skills. I see a lot of coaches are in hurry to get to their credentials.
Yes.
I don't see that as a very productive process. Coaching is a very deep, purposeful profession. And if you are entering coaching, then you should have your purpose aligned. It is not about only getting, good money. You get that, but you need a lot of effort. It's a rewarding career, but it also needs that much of investment, intent, and purpose. I've seen a lot of people not surviving in this field because they were in hurry. They wanted everything fast, right? So that is a challenge I see, especially some, coaches who are looking in fact, professionals who are looking at coaching as a second career, lack patience and hence do not invest in themselves or go deeper into their skills. Another challenge I see is the coaching education getting very democratized, not being, not evolving in their courses, not evolving in what the nation, what the world wants today, not being dynamic enough and being very generic, still coaching, still teaching life coaching skills and not getting into niching, not getting into case studies, not getting into real conversations, not creating the combination of mentoring, coaching, consulting, because that's what the world wants. Nobody wants pure coaching, let's be honest. And client want their solution. And how do you do that ethically through coaching? How do you do that with a right blend and right process in place? That's the invitation for our industry, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. To your last point, it has to be a blend of all three: mentoring, coaching, and consulting sometimes, and perhaps training. And how you do that in an ethical manner and stick to the process is also something that I think we've all learned over a period of time, right? And I love that point about it's not a coaching as a career is not something that you can just do it in 4 days and be, you're a certified coach and then you are a credentialed coach and then you're a ACC or a PCC. It's not about checking boxes, and that's what I keep telling all my mentees and students, that it's not about checking boxes. It is about really imbibing and implementing those competencies, the skills. In fact, I have a theory on this, that the 4-quadrant model, where you go from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence to conscious competence and then to unconscious incompetence. And that journey is truly I would say it's a spiritual journey. It's the journey within for the coach, right? Thank you so much for bringing that up. And
That's what I call is a deep space insight, like of three of you kind of, what you shared. Only thing which I would, before the next question we ask is, with the, the AI coming in, the new technology coming in, we really have to also have those filters which come from the ICF core competencies, so that the biases, when we enter the session, when we are serving our clients, we have to keep the biases out, because whatever the machine learning is going to give, the data will come with biases embedded in it. How we see through it, that would need that deep, muscle as a coach, which Jaya said, that would need that internal clean canvas, that space which Deep said, and that would need that beautiful mind which Sandhya was saying to emerge. All three together will be able to serve. Yeah. So yes, Sandhya, so going more into the future. So let's go ahead. How does future look like?
Yeah, and the future looks beautiful as far as I can see. As we kind of, I would say, adaptability is the key. But Debeshi, I think we've got a lovely audience here. I'm sure they have their observations, they have their questions.
They have some. Is it okay, like Jaya and Deep, if we take some questions? Avijat has a beautiful question. So Avijat, why don't you unmute yourself and speak? That would be better.
Sure. I'll not ask a question. I'll give you a real life scenario.
Okay.
I am talking to a leader who is partially, I'll say just semi-mature, not very mature. And I know the point which he is making doesn't make sense. Now that's a struggle. Now, should I don a coach's hat or should I don an HR's hat? And I mean, there's a lot of urge to tell him this is not the right way, but it's a struggle. Any suggestions?
Yeah. Abhijit, why don't you introduce yourself first?
Sure. I am an HR business partner based in Bangalore, working with the Schneider Group as an HR BP, and I'm on my PCC journey as a coach.
Wonderful. Yeah. Jay, do you want to go or shall I?
Anything, Deep, carry on. I can come
Okay.
later.
So, Abhijat, thank you for bringing this question. Very often asked by leaders, coaches within organizations. So, what we enable them with is an awareness. Where on the spectrum of coaching are you operating from? There are two sides of the spectrum. One is directive, another is non-directive, right? One is a pull, another is a push. Pull has listening, silencing, asking question for awareness, asking question for context. And push has offering feedback, sharing, experiencing. Sometimes even within the organization, leaders as coaches have to also advise goal, right? The performance goals, etc. So for a leader as a coach with an organization, a pure coaching hat of pulling, non-directive, might not be a great idea. So you need to flex yourself and know what within this situation, what's required for me, either to present my intuition or to present a case study or to present a feedback or a hypothesis. Hey, I saw you do this. I've been asking you to do that, but you've been doing otherwise. What is it that you think about it? I believe that you probably need support, whatever that hypothesis or a feedback is. So give situation, behavior, impact feedback. Right, asking permission to give feedback, then tell the situation what you observed. How do you observe them being, and what is the impact on you, on the organization, and what can they do differently? And then starting a coaching intervention afterwards, because feedback would be important to get them to the zone, what Sandhya was saying, to that conscious incompetency. I know what I don't know. Now I'm ready to absorb what you have to show me. Yeah. So once you get them to that zone of I know what I don't know, now very subtly being a coach, you can invite them to build that conscious competency, which is I know what I need to know, right? And I am working on it. I'm practicing it, right? So that's when, as a coach, you need to keep them in that zone of conscious competency in knowing what they need to know and supporting them, enabling them through resources, through challenge, through through various things that you have to offer within the organization. I don't know whether this makes sense to you, Abhijat, and we can.
No, of course it makes sense, and that the spectrum was a beautiful. I can imagine that spectrum, and we have to. I
I'm
think
happy to share that on
yes.
the chapter link. I'm happy to share that. It's called the Miles Downey. So giving back the credit source, it's a Miles Downey coaching spectrum. You can look up as well, and he has beautifully explained it.
Thanks. Please
So,
do share.
yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, Abhijat.
So thank you, Abhijat, for that question. Jaya, Sandhya, would you like to add something to it?
No, I think as I'm good. Jaya.
Okay. Yeah, I can offer you a metaphor, which is coaching is a immunity booster. It's not an antibiotic, right? So we have to prepare our environment to participate in coaching. That's a very important part of leadership, HR leaders, and everybody. So the kind of conversations you do in the organization or in the relationship needs equality of mindset. Like a cart cannot have different sizes of wheels. All the wheels need to be same size to be able to move together, right? Now, a lot of times coaching fails when one person has a lot of coaching knowledge and other person doesn't have any clue over what is this person talking about. So first of all, are you preparing the ground for coaching? Your coaching will work when the other person understands your approach. And there is a culture of reflection. There is a culture of, let me hear and let me understand and let me think, right? So whenever anybody is trying to, in fact, in our homes, right, we learn coaching and then we start applying it on our family members and it starts backfiring. It doesn't work because we need to induce it slowly in our conversations, listen, show them impact slowly, and then it starts working. So always treat coaching as a immunity booster, especially when you're dealing with an external environment, if that makes sense. So make the wheels equal before you start moving the cart.
Right.
Nice analogy there.
Nice
Yeah,
analogy.
nice analogy. And I think I will add to it, Debeshi. This is a very, very commonplace challenge that internal coaches face, right? And external as well. It works both ways. And for internal coaches, it becomes a huge challenge because it could be a team member and you're used to literally telling them what to do and how to do it. And when you're coaching them, moving from that telling to asking, that spectrum, that process is a challenge. So when you when you think of yourself as the boss or the leader, what is the leadership style, right? What is the leadership style? And I mean, we could go on forever, but coaching can be a leadership style where everyday conversations are coaching conversations. As Jaya said, you've got to really create the environment, the ethos, the ambience to start coaching, and it has to be at an equal level. It's collaborative, right? The process, the whole thing is collaborative. It's not top down. So we really need to prepare for that. I hope that helps.
Sure. So two things I think I can take away. One is, of course, first of all, the person has to be open-minded. If it's a fixed mind person, definitely it's a shut door. Second thing is, of course, power differential. If the person is thinking I am leader, and if the power difference is there, then again it might be challenges, as you said,
Yeah.
equal spectrum. Yep.
Yeah.
Even the coach's mindset has to be that open and ready to accept the client just the way they are.
Great, Sandhya. If I may just add one last thing there, Abhijat. So do they know that you are trying to coach them?
Not explicitly.
So that's what the implicit has to become the explicit in saying that I'm not here working with you right now as HR. I am going to coach you. Are you ready and open for it? Then that needs to be recontracted. Something that we call spot contracting in our coaching education world. You need to spot contract and say, hey, can you see me as your coach?
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Good point.
and what does the coach do? Just explain them the very first competency of coaching, right? Just explain them what it is not. And when you do that, there can be more receptivity. And when they start seeing that genuine deep care coming from you, they would open up. The fixed mindset would become growth mindset in no time.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Jaya, Deep, and Sandhya. I'm sure, Abhijat, now you have a
Seriously.
lot of tools and a lot of insights to go back and take care of the situation differently. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. So with that, we're coming towards the end, part of our conversation.
Shanti
Yeah,
has asked a
I
question.
noticed Shanti's comment, which is very intriguing.
Yes.
Maybe we can invite her
So,
to speak more.
Right. So Shanti, would you like to come on camera and share? You want to come on camera and share, Shanti?
Sure, I'm not camera ready, but
Okay.
let me go. It's okay. It's not too bad.
I know.
So what I've been observing a trend with several people who say that I've lost weight, so I'm a weight loss coach. I've experienced grief, I've overcome it, so I'm a grief coach. And in further discussions, I just understand that there are no credentials, no formal training, but they believe that just because they've overcome a particular situation in life, they are ready to coach. What is your view on this?
I, like Jaya, have an analogy and metaphor busting to come out. Can I share with
Please,
all of your
please.
permission? Shanti, this sounds like to me a beautiful question there, and I think that's the struggle we all are, going through. And at ICF, we are doing all of these panel discussions just because we need to overcome that notion of I can be a coach because I've gone through something. So it's almost like I have gone through surgery. Now I am the doctor of that disease. It's almost like I have flown this journey from this origin to this destination. Now I can be the pilot of the flight. It's almost coming up to me like that. As you spoke about it, I just couldn't stop, but I had to, come up with this metaphor that people need to realize they would have transitioned with somebody else's support. Can they be that supporter themselves? That's a very big misconception. And that's what through our coach education and all these awareness sessions, we need to start to challenge. Yeah. Thank you, Shanti, for that wonderful question that will certainly build some ripple effects and bring some Ashanti, which is required. Yeah.
That's a big challenge in the area of in this profession as well, right? It's a big challenge. We are certified, accredited, and all of that, and then you have this is a very commonplace situation. But the way I'm looking at it is more and more specialization, understanding what coach education really does for us. It is not a checkbox, I repeat. And I would say, when I say that a coach can take their client only as deep as they've been themselves, it does not mean that they've had the same goals, the same challenges. It's about the coach knowing, being aware that there is an inward journey that I have been through, and the client also needs to go through that inward journey. And the entire credentialing process is that. It's that journey from point X to that unconscious competence, right? That I just keep stressing on that somehow. It is an internal journey, and that is showing the tangible skills. You can't just demonstrate those competencies, those skills that ICF has kind of researched and put together. You've got to really imbibe those. And then that's the journey that we go through. That's been our experience.
While all of that is true, at the same time, the world needs more coaches. That's an ask, which is very much evident, very much palpable. And we would need an army of coaches to have this pandemic of transformation being available. So my question to Jaya is, with the we are entering the age of AI. And I see there'll be a time when AI is going to be old, right? We'll be talking about it in one of the webinars, and there'll be future beyond that, right? So, but ICF has been there, the core competency has been there for more than 25 years. It has become mature and people have evolved. So, any thought about how that future might look like?
It's hard to talk beyond AI right now because I think there are so many unpredictable things coming up which we can't really, predict or make sense of. So first is grapple with what is there, what is seen. And then the whole answer, like Sandhya was saying, is adapt and keep changing, be agile, be okay to, one of a great tool is to continuously keep asking yourself that today, if I become irrelevant, what will I do? What's my next option? And continue to learn new skills, continue to get onto new trends. And I think there's no choice. Earlier, changing or evolving learning was a little bit of choice. Now I think it's more survival skill. If you want to stay in the profession, you have to continue to learn and build expertise, because you will be called for your expertise, nothing else. The expertise is something that any technology cannot copy. The experience that you go through, nobody can copy that. The emotional intelligence that you have, in no technology can copy. So work on that. Work on your unique human skills, which are which are hard to find, and which means continuous learning, continuous investment, continuous getting on to what's happening in the world and staying relevant. I think that's the answer.
Deep and Sandhya, would you like to add something to it?
Deep, please
Deep-
go ahead.
Go ahead, Sandhya, should you want to go first?
No, just go ahead and then I'll
Okay.
wrap up.
So I was in a conversation with ICF director from Toronto, and she says 2,500 coaches in their chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And each one has a niche specialization into one area. And that's what everyone is asking for. Because more the demand, more the supply, more scouting would have to happen looking at the specialization and your niche. Can you work towards growing and evolving your experience education, exposure into something that you specialize in, that no one else can copy, that you hold most expertise in? So coach education should start to also support coaches to build their niche as well alongside. Because change is going to be the only constant, right? Are we staying updated and staying informed to enable our clients and coaches to be transformed? First, the transformation has to begin for ourselves. So,
Yep.
Thank you so much, Deep. So I think that brings us to the end for defining future readiness of coaches, of where we are standing in terms of ICF coach education. And I could see some of the chats which say it's great to know that the future is hopeful. So till we are relying on the core competencies, building our muscle on that. If the rest of the logistics gets taken care of by AI or a bot, we'll just have more time to expand that creative space, go deep, and come up with that beautiful blue sapphire, right? So on that note, I really want to thank Deep, Sandhya, and Jaya for creating and working on this new topic. And, I'm sure that many will be asking questions around those who are not there in the session about, they might be having some questions. So I've shared your LinkedIn link. So anybody who is reflecting on this session and has more question can reach out to Jaya, reach out to Sandhya, reach out to Deep, and obviously reach out to me as well, so that we can continue this conversation, because it's a journey and we really all have to be like bold Sinbad. So we really have to sail. We just can't stay stuck, stay safe, because the world is changing and we have to rise with the wave. So thank you so much. I'll just invite Radha Kanji to give a vote of thanks to the three futurist coach educators and close the session.
Thank you so much, Debeshi, for such a wonderful session. And it was really deep. Actually, I was kind of floating, and then many metaphors were coming up. Like what was coming in my mind, that change is only a permanent thing, which is going to be, future ready, whatever. Few things just resonated within me, that we need to have a niche for the coaching. And as deep we go, Jaya mentioned that we need to have a purpose to be in the coaching arena. It is not just to make the money and move on. And as many things have come up, like Sandhya ji just mentioned, that it is not a just checkbox, it is a journey, and journey with uniqueness. So really thankful to all of you, all four of you, because Debeshi, you also actually sailed the entire conversation in such a beautiful way that all of us who are in the room, in the space, they all got enlightened with the journey, that what is going to be the future. We are aware about the present, and thank you very much, Deep, Sandhya ji, and Jaya, for creating such a wonderful space. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Radhakanji. It takes a village to raise a child, and I already see, Delhi NCR chapter being that village to raise every single session so meticulously. So thank you, Debeshi, Sandhya, and Jaya as well.
So
Thank
on that
you.
Thank
note,
you. I would Deep, to what you've just said, I would say that it is thanks to the entire cohesiveness that we have in our chapter, and Mr. Radhakanji just leading it and letting all of us, take all our thoughts and ideas forward. That's why it's been possible. It's a beautiful, it's one of the largest groups right now, and I think they're doing a fairly good job. Thanks.
Navras of Radhakanji playing
Yes.
the part.
Yes. The leadership skills that we talk about,
Exactly.
building other leaders, that's what he's been doing.
Beautiful.
Thank
So
you
on
for that.
Yeah, thank you so much. On that note, so I'll just say goodbye for now, but I'm sure, we are going to have another session soon and talking about things which excite us, which makes us go closer to the future. And I bet the future is exciting with bold leaders, whether they're coaches or they are, partnering with the coaches. We are going to make the future very, very bright. So stay bright and thank you so much. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Jaya, for
Thank you
coming
for
in.
inviting.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.